There are so many massive trends going on in the world of artificial intelligence, especially with vibe coding, Anthropic trying to build Cursor. AI is scared of China, and then we also have Chinese models, both images, videos, and especially LLMs coming out very soon. We have Google's new insane image model that people are using instead of Photoshop. AI is getting better at writing, and AI is entering social media platforms in a way that I didn't expect, but I think all of the other platforms are going to follow. So my name is Riley Brown, and I look at the space through these 4 lenses: marketing and culture, app building, tools that we use for everyday productivity, and then content creation and creativity. And if you're interested in how AI affects these things, consider subscribing. Okay, let's just dive straight into it. Okay, right now there's so much going on in vibe coding. And vibe coding right now I think is the fastest growing trend in all of tech. I mean, vibe coding has quickly passed prompt engineering in terms of how many people are talking about it. And it's for reasons like this. So Bilawal Sadhu posted this video the other day that got so many people excited about the future of AI and 3D gaming. And so let's watch this video real quick. Prompt, create a poly cabin in the woods, and then Blender right here, let's go ahead and throw this on 0.25 speed. Blender is going to go through and actually generate all of the assets in this image right here. And it's using MCP within Claude. So Claude is literally controlling Blender through code right here and creating all of the assets in Blender. And then these Blender assets can be imported into games that you create with AI. Another method to do this, and this was a really cool video by Majid, he said, generate 3D animated characters for your vibe-coded 3JS game in less than 5 minutes. So what he's doing here effectively, he's generating an image on the new Gemini image model, which we'll get to later. And then he's going to Trellis, and I think this basically takes an image right here, and it's actually going to turn it into a 3D model. And so then it's going to get an extracted GLB file. And I don't know much about the gaming, but I do know that when I used AI to generate something in Blender, I exported it as a GLB into a game. And so we've gone from 2D character to a 3D character using Trellis. And then you have to convert the GLB into an FBX. And then you import it into Mixamo to figure out how you want to animate it. And then they're going to export the FBX plus the animations for your 3JS game. And so this sounds cool, but it's not super easy, right? There's a lot of steps, a lot of different tools that you might need to learn. You need to learn about GLB files or FBX files. I actually don't think this is the best place to start. And if we go to the next slide here, Dan Greenack said, I finally caved to the hype. Here's my attempt at vibe coding with 0 manual coding. I gave myself just 30 minutes to build a 3D RPG with 3JS using Cursor, Claude, and Claude 3.7 Sonnet. And I'm about to play this video, but I think 100% this is a really good place to start. A simple game, and you don't have to go into Blender, create any of these assets. You can just ask Cursor to create a 3JS game with these assets. And to me, this kind of looked like a Minecraft-like game. As you can see, some enemies running around. They seem to have some health. And you could basically just run around in this like RPG-like world. And this was just 30 minutes of prompting. And he has water, trees, different hills on the map. And it's this first-person game, which is kind of cool. And then the last trend I want to talk about in kind of this vibe code gaming, or generative gaming is what you could call it, is this video was insane. So someone created this. This is prompt to RPG character. And directly within the game, right? Within the game, he's controlling this raccoon right here. So it shows the character that he's controlling. So he's controlling this raccoon walking around this map. And then he's going up here and entering a green alligator in a spacesuit, and it's going to generate this green alligator in a spacesuit. And now we can run around this map. And now he's generating a knight in dark armor, and the knight in dark armor gets generated. He can control that knight. Again, a monkey in a yellow spacesuit, generate, boom, there is a monkey in a spacesuit. So this is going to be massive. The ability to just create games on the fly, this is going to push all of the value to content creators, especially streamers. I could see a world where streamers basically spend a full day building a game for his followers, and everyone's just commenting in the chat what features to add, and they just kind of create this game, and then the next day they just play it all together. Okay, that's it for the gaming stuff. So V0 got a makeover. V0 integrations. You can now add storage into your generations with Upstash, Supabase, or Neon. And I'll explain what that means in a second if you're new to the whole vibe coding space. You can also set up a database without creating a new account through Vercel Marketplace, and you can generate and execute SQL to interact with your database. And so let me show you what this means here. So we can play this video and we can say, can we add a database to this calendar to keep track of which events were added? Previously, right, look how great this design is. V0 is a tool like Replit, like Bolt, like Lovable, that is a web-based tool. You can go to it and ask it to generate an app. But the problem with these apps have been that you can't add a database. And so anything that you add into the site, if you were to refresh the page, all of it would be gone. Now you can ask it to add a database. And so you can create a little app in V0, and then you could use that app, right? If you send the link to your app to a friend, they could interact with the website and it can add their data, right? If you wanted to create a Twitter clone, that data needs to be stored somewhere, right? And so now you can begin to build apps with a database. And this is very cool. Over to Bolt. So Bolt is another vibe coding tool that you can just build apps on the web. This is becoming a very competitive space right now. You have Bolt, Replit, Lovable, and there's many others actually, V0. And they just added the ability to use Figma. So you can basically import your designs if you use Figma directly into Bolt. And this is pretty cool. I think this is going to be something we're going to see across all of these web-based vibe coding tools. You're going to be able to just import your Figma designs. Okay, so that's it for the vibe coding trends. Let's move to the next one, which is Anthropic Harmony. So this video just leaked from Anthropic, and it mentions Anthropic Harmony. And it is this new tool, right, an early preview of the upcoming Harmony feature for Claude. Harmony will allow users to give Claude full access to a local directory so it can research and operate within its content. Is Harmony the first Anthropic's AI agent? And here's a video. And so here you can basically give it access to the files on your computer, and you can just say, summarize it. And so this is kind of a boring use case, but to me, we're reaching a point where Anthropic is going deep into your computer. Anthropic has computer use, where it can literally control your computer. It has MCPs, which can do things on your computer, as well as interact with APIs, like external APIs, really easily. So it's getting easier and easier to add other technologies to Claude. And so if we open up Claude here, right, you can see that in Claude, I was actually using it for Blender. I have access to these 41 tools, right? These are all MCPs. And very soon, we're just going to be able to, by default, basically give it access to files on my computer. They just added a new model that makes it much quicker for it to edit files. They also created Claude Code, which you interact with it directly in your terminal. And many people are saying it's better than Cursor at generating code. And so we're seeing all these interesting features made specifically for developers and slightly more technical people out of Anthropic. And so I think that is the branch that we're seeing right now. We're seeing OpenAI go all in on the product side, making it accessible to everyone. I think OpenAI's strategy is to go for, billions of users, just like Facebook. And Anthropic's like, okay, we're going to go for the people building products, the developers who want to build really cool things. And I think it's interesting to see them kind of become different in that way. And this is not just for developers as well. You can actually go directly on your desktop and we can just create a new folder. And so we created this untitled folder too. Please, in my desktop folder, create 3 documents in the untitled folder 2. I want you to create 4 documents. These should be 10-line poems, and these should be text files. So find that folder and add those 4 poems files in that folder, and rename the folder to Riley's Poems. And so we now have access to our own computer. And so we can allow for this chat, and it's using the MCP, which I know is different than Harmony, but my point is I want to show you that Anthropic is starting to have more an intuitive sense of your computer. And so now it's writing the folders. Look, it changed it to Riley's Poems. And if we click on this, we'll see that it's created Morning Light. Okay, now it's created City Lights, Ocean Dreams, and now Autumn Thoughts. It did that automatically. It can create all these different folders. And then we can now open this up. And now take a look at this. We have these 4 poems in here as text files, and we can see them just like this. We could ask, okay, now write an essay in that folder, and first search the web and make this about the TBPN podcast that just launched, that's big on Twitter. Web, it's searching the web, and now it's creating this essay, and then it's going to enter it directly into the folder, which I think is just incredibly, boom, there's the essay. We can click on it right here, and now we can read it. So here we have this text file, and we can read it, which is really cool. It's like having Perplexity, right? Because Claude can't built-in search the web, but since it has access to the MCP tool and your files, it can quickly add things to your files. And I think this is really, really... All right, let's move to the next trend. OpenAI wants to train on copyright data. This one is quite interesting. So OpenAI and Google ask the government to let them train AI on content they don't own. So OpenAI and Google are pushing the US government to allow their AI models to train on copyright material. Both companies outlined their stance in proposals published this week, with OpenAI arguing that applying fair use protection to AI is a matter of national security. And I'm going to explain this in a second if you get a little lost here. But the initiative is supposed to enhance America's position as an AI powerhouse while preventing the burdensome requirements from impacting innovation. In its comment, OpenAI claims that allowing AI companies to access copyrighted content would help the US avoid forfeiting its lead in AI to China while calling out the rise of DeepSeek. I think OpenAI is doing a really good job at pretending that DeepSeek doesn't scare the crap out of them. I know for a fact that it does. It is terrifying that DeepSeek found a way to really cheaply create an AI that's basically at the quality of ChatGPT 4.5. There's little doubt that the PRCs, People Republic of China, AI development will enjoy unfettered access to data, including copyrighted data that will improve their models, OpenAI writes. They're basically saying that China is going to train all of their AI models on US copyrighted material. They're going to download all the movies, they're going to download all the books, they're going to download everything, and they are going to train AI models on that material no matter what, no matter if they have access or not. And Sam Altman's argument, or OpenAI's argument, as well as Google, who agrees, they're basically saying we need to have access or we are going to lose to China. And they're saying that if they lose to China in this AI race, that is a matter of national security. If the PRC's developers have unfettered access to data and American companies are left without fair use access, the race for AI is effectively over. 2 years ago, OpenAI and Sam Altman was going on little world tours saying, I dare any of you to compete with us. There was a famous video.
If you want to build foundational models, how should we think about that? Where is it that a team from India, 3 super smart engineers with, not 100 million, but let's say 10 million, could actually build something truly substantial?
Look, the way this works is we're going to tell you it's totally hopeless to compete with us on training foundation models. You shouldn't try, and it's your job to try anyway. And I believe both of those things. I think it is pretty hopeless, but
where he basically told I think he was in India, and he said, yeah, you won't compete with us, but you can try. And now, foreign companies are now basically right there with them. And he's saying that they will 100% win and it's a matter of copyright issues. OpenAI always makes it seem like they have this secret to AGI. And I think it's becoming very clear that they have no more secret sauce. And it's starting to look like China might outcompete the US in terms of creating good AI text models like ChatGPT and AI video models because they created Kling. So China's AI models are looking extremely good, and a Chinese company just released Manus, which is basically a mixture between OpenAI's Operator, which is only accessible on the $200 per month plan, and Deep Research, which is also accessible on the $200 per month plan, and they're releasing it presumably for much cheaper once it gets released to the public. And so China's starting to look like a huge threat, and that's going to cut into their profits. And they are extremely worried about it. And then we have this story, which I think is going to start coming up again a lot. This OpenAI researcher was basically publicly saying that the company broke copyright law, and he was about to go on a press circuit. He was about to talk to a bunch of different outlets about how specifically OpenAI was breaking copyright law. Then he committed suicide in his apartment. Many people were saying that it didn't actually look like a suicide. I have not done much research into this, but I guarantee you this is going to come up as OpenAI starts arguing that they should have unfettered access to all of the movies created in the US, all of the books created in the US. OpenAI is going to want to train AI models on literally everything. And so is Google and many other US companies. And I thought this was a really interesting tweet from Santiago. Sam, totally hopeless to compete with us. Sam, I wish he would just compete by building a better product. And he said that about Elon Musk. And then also, Sam, we need to ban my competitors. And this was commenting on a TechCrunch tweet saying OpenAI calls DeepSeek state-controlled, calls for bans on PRC-produced models. Okay, so let's move on to the next trend, which Chinese models are coming out soon. So Baidu was released yesterday. So Baidu just released a brand new model. I forgot to add a slide for this, but let's go ahead and let's just say do research on Baidu and their new model in essay format and add it to that folder. And let's just go ahead and do this. So now it's creating this essay. Okay, it just added this essay, so we can click on this. But basically, the Ernie 4.5 is a model created by Baidu, some multi-billion-dollar company in China. And they created these new AI models that represent significant advancements in AI capabilities, so Ernie 4.5 and Ernie X1. And they called Ernie 4.5 just, a couple weeks after ChatGPT released GPT 4.5. And it's their latest foundation model, just like ChatGPT's new 4.5 model. And then they also released X1, a specialized reasoning model that's even cheaper than DeepSeek's reasoning model, and apparently it's nearly as good. So yeah, it performs on par with DeepSeek's R1 at only half the price. Basically, they created a model that's a lot like GPT 4.5 and just like DeepSeek's R1. And then we also have DeepSeek R2, which was originally rumored to come out tomorrow, but they have since destroyed those claims, saying it's not coming out tomorrow. I would imagine that with all of these new reasoning models coming out in the US, I would expect by the end of March for DeepSeek to release their R2 model. And I'm very curious to see how good this model is, because I think the reasoning feature within DeepSeek's R1 is still my favorite feature within an AI model. It literally thinks like a human, or at least it appears to think like a human. And reading the way that it processes things, I think is one of the most entertaining things in AI, and one of the most interesting things to actually see how an AI model thinks. Because remember, OpenAI still hides the true reasoning behind their reasoning models. And those are tokens that you're paying for and they're not showing you. Whereas if you use DeepSeek, it will show you the full reasoning, which I think is why it is probably my favorite model out now, except for maybe Claude Sonnet because it's just so good at coding. Okay, let's move to the next thing, which is Google AI News, especially their new AI image model. So Logan Kilpatrick, he said native image generation with Gemini 2.0 Flash is now available to all developers via an experimental release in the Gemini API and Google AI Studio. If you Google AI Studio right now, you'll find that this is free. You can use this for free. And this model is incredible. And here's an example of someone who basically uploaded this image of a woman and then this jacket and said, make this woman wear this jacket. And let's actually go try it. Let's type in Google AI Studio. I'll show you exactly how to set this up. You're gonna have to create an account. I've already created an account, so I don't have to. And over here, you can see the models. So just go to this first tab over here, which is Create Prompt, then go to the models, and make sure you're on Gemini 2.0 image generation. And so now we can use this new image model. And so let's go ahead and go to Google Images, and let's go man, and we'll get this image of this guy, and we're gonna copy this image, and we can paste that in, and we'll go orange puffer jacket, copy this image, and we can paste that in. Say, make this man wearing this jacket and zoom out. And so let's see how long this takes. And so here we have this man wearing the jacket. But you actually don't need to upload multiple images. So we can just upload this image and say, give him a blue hat and earrings. And it will actually just give him a blue hat and earrings. And what I like about this model is it doesn't overly affect the other parts of the image. So you see here that this is almost like identical. The face, except for the earrings and this blue hat. And then we can just keep continuing. Make his turtleneck orange and jacket blue. And so ideally this will be orange, this turtleneck will be orange, and the jacket will be blue. There we go. And so now we went from this to this to this. Now make the background dark blue with a painting. Now add another painting to the left of the other one. Now give the man sunglasses and make mustache larger. And look at that. We can just kind of flow and edit these images. And I guarantee you many apps out there, if you want to build apps, using this AI model is going to be very massive. And I think there's going to be a lot of viral apps using this technology because you can immediately just put this in the app because you can get this code directly. And if you use this code right here with your API key, you can actually add it into any app that you want to create. So yeah, this new Gemini 2.0 Flash image model is the biggest thing Google has done recently. They also released this open weight Gemma 3 model that can actually run on phones. So on the AI models that are going to be able to run directly on your phone are getting better and better, which means that anytime you use OpenAI, that costs money because you need to interact with their server, their GPUs, generate the text, and send it back to your phone. That's how you use ChatGPT. But if you have these models running directly on your phone, you're going to be able to do a lot with AI without even needing internet access. So it'll be effectively free for the cost of the electricity on your phone, basically. So the next trend, OpenAI is developing a new model that excels at creative writing. And so Sam Altman tweeted this the other day. We've trained a new model that is good at creative writing. Not sure yet how or when it will be released, but this is the first time I have been really struck by something written by AI. It got the vibe of metafiction so right. Please write a metafictional literary short story about AI and grief. And I'll let you pause the video if you want to read this. And I think the writing is pretty good. But what I want to talk about more is the question I get a lot, which is, why does AI suck at writing? And the simple answer is AI that's good at responding to corporate emails probably won't be that good at writing for social media or books, etc. And a simple mental test that I do when I think, okay, is this technology going to get really good for my use cases? And I call it the Microsoft test. I have no idea why I use Microsoft. And this Microsoft test is if this big corporate entity agrees with you on the quality of something, it'll get better at creating that thing with AI. Let me explain. Microsoft and you, or OpenAI and you, will agree on what good code looks like, right? If you want to generate code in Cursor, it's good code, especially if you're a programmer, right? If you're a programmer, you're going to agree on the quality. These companies are getting so good at training only on the really high quality outputs that it's only going to continue to get better. In fact, there's companies out there whose job is to just collect really high quality outputs. But the problem with writing is that what I think is really good writing, Microsoft or OpenAI won't agree. So we're not gonna scale towards that high quality output because there's just disagreement. The people training good writing, they don't know what good writing is for everyone, and there isn't good writing for everyone. I prefer AI models to speak way more unfiltered and to just say it how it is without any sort of political correctness. And that's why I think I prefer XAI's outputs a little bit more, but XAI suffers from those same biases because a lot of their models are trained on OpenAI's outputs. And so that's why AI is not good at writing. So you actually need a model. You need to train a model specifically on good creative writing. And that's why there's tensions between US and China, or that's why Sam Altman wants to be able to train on all of the books ever created. They want to make sure that they get all of the books out there and train their model on high quality outputs. You know, the highest selling books of all time. They want to train their models on that so they can actually get better at writing. And their argument is that if they don't do that, China is going to do it. Then China will have a strategic advantage over the US because they're able to train on all the data in the world because, you know, China don't give no fuck. And so that's kind of Sam's argument there. So the next trend involves the best use of AI within a social media platform, in my opinion. And it involves this new Grok feature, where if you're kind of confused on what's going on or you want additional context, you can just type @Grok, who's using the dupes in TFI. I don't really know what this video was about. This is just an example. And Grok provides context. In TFI, body doubles are widely used, especially in action film. So it actually has context of the video here. It can watch the video, it understands what's going on in the video, it understands who's tweeting, and AI can actually provide that relevant context. And this, in my opinion, is a significantly better use than how Meta is trying to use AI with these AI avatars. I'll get more to that in a second. But this feature, XAI launching the ability to @Grok, directly copied Perplexity. So Ask Perplexity is a feature that was the same thing as this Grok feature, but Perplexity created it first. And this account was created a few weeks ago, and it's already at 100,000 followers. And so now you can type Ask @Perplexity, and I actually think the answers are slightly better than Grok. And many people who ask Perplexity or Grok just do both of them, and they say @Grok, @Perplexity, what's going on with this? And so now they are kind of competing, but obviously Grok has a strategic advantage because they own the platform. And I think that, first of all, I think that Meta is going to launch this maybe in Facebook, definitely in Threads, and I think they should actually add it in Instagram as well. I think that would be super useful. And yeah, I think that this is a way better use case of AI than these weird AI avatars. I actually think no one wants AI avatars. I think AI avatars are one of those things that literally no one wants and will be used to just kind of addict the agency users who just scroll completely mindlessly and don't want to lose touch with reality completely for whatever reason. I think AI avatars are so beyond stupid. But for whatever reason, Meta wants to continue to add these into their platforms in various ways. I just don't think it's a good use of AI. But using AI that you can just comment and talk to like it's a person in the comments of that social media, really smart. And I expect this to get more immersive. I'm not quite sure what that means, but I think there's something there because it's a very popular feature within X. So the next trend. So the next trend is Manus. And so everyone's going over Manus, and many people are saying that this is kind of the prototype for AGI. I mentioned it a little bit earlier in this video. It's a lot like ChatGPT's deep research and ChatGPT's operator built in one. And I actually got access the other day, and I'll show you one of my prompts or one of my uses for it. So my last one was basically create a presentation with relevant images on the following topics, which was this presentation here. I wanted to see what images it would grab. And so basically it went through all of these different steps, boom, 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 all the way down, visited sites, taking screenshots, doing a lot of things, converting things, using Python, basically just kind of a more free-flowing, have access to a lot of tools, and then generated this report right here. The report was decent, and all I asked it to do was just to grab images, right? I wanted to get relevant images for this presentation, and it went through, and sometimes it just downloaded images from the internet, and the other times it actually took screenshots of videos. Some of them weren't that great, but the point is it's doing a lot more work. And it was just revealed earlier, I think about a week ago, that this is actually an Anthropic Claude 3.7 wrapper. Now, if AI models in China continue to get better, they're cheaper, so Manus will likely switch to the cheaper models. But it's basically using all of the most powerful models to create this agentic workflow that can begin to create a lot more things. It can create code for an app, it can generate a presentation, and it's like having like a research employee that can create documents for you, but it can also go out and search the web, which makes it like GPT research and operator built into one. And this is definitely the form factor of the future, in my opinion. When you're using your computer, you just have access to a chatbot that can kind of go do a ton of different things, and it's going to get access to more and more tools. And soon it might be able to just watch the YouTube video. And that is going to be a very interesting time on the internet. And that's why many people are recommending that you create websites and create blogs and content for the internet. You actually write it specifically for AI agents. You make sure that everything's easily searchable by the agent, because many people actually won't visit your site, but their AI agent that's looking for relevant information will visit your site. The problem with this is that AI agents are actually going to create a lot of the websites. So we might see this like huge overload. And so that's why I think people will actually be pushed into closed communities where you can have a higher degree of certainty that the information there is higher signal or good information, because AI agents are going to change everything. And for a YouTube video, for doing research on a YouTube video, it's going to get significantly easier to just send an agent on all of your little ideas, and then you can just evaluate the reports generated by AI, and then you can be like, okay, yeah, I'll make a video on this, and it'll do like 70% of the research work up front. And it's going to get significantly better. And I really like this video. If you look up this video by McKay Wrigley, it's a 14-minute video. And he claims that in the next 2 to 3 years, it's going to have an IQ of over 180. It'll never stop working, and it'll be 10 times faster. And Manus right now is kind of in this limited preview, but soon you're going to be able to just run as many of these windows at once. Because these take so long to generate, this is going to start to look like a lot more like many different agents at once. In fact, I have a tweet that I keep repeating over and over again, because I basically said that the future of AI agent workflows is going to look a lot like online poker in 2010, where you have a ton of different windows open, because poker is a game of patience, right? You're folding a lot, and you're not actually doing anything. You're just sitting there waiting. And so poker players would have many tables open at once. And when it was their turn on one of the tables, they would actually go play that hand. And on the hand, it would actually show you a HUD, or a heads-up display, which basically keeps track of all the stats of all the players at your table. And this allowed players to just switch from game to game to game to game to game, because they could go to a game where it's their turn, see the relevant stats of all the players, and then make an informed decision. And it allowed them to turn this like 20 different games at once into just one giant game, making sequential decisions over and over again. And their goal was to make as much money per hour, right? Which will be the same goal that you'll have when operating these AI agents. Imagine in the future you have Manus, and one of them's your content researcher, one of them's your content poster, one of them's dedicated just to posting good stories. Maybe these agents are talking to a central database and they can talk to each other, and your goal is to just make effective decisions, nudging these AI agents to do better things, right? You think that's kind of management, like good management. You're basically managing human employees. Well, soon that will be this dashboard of AI agents that are doing things for your company, but it may require your decision-making process. And that's where you come in. And so that's why I think it's going to kind of look like this in the future when it comes to AI agent workflows. Okay, and finally, every week that I do this, I'm going to try and shout out someone that I actually like consume content from, that I get a ton of value, because I think there's a lot of terrible content being made on AI, business, startups. And when there's really high quality content being made by someone, I want to make sure to shout them out. And that's TBPN, which is this new like Technology Brothers podcast network or something. And they have like really high quality guests. They had Avi Schiffman, who created Friend.com, Sean Purry, a lot of people that you'll recognize, and big people in tech that don't normally do podcast stuff. And so I think this is a really good way to keep an eye on startups and how they're using modern technology within startups. And it's just a really fun listen. It was just created. So I want to shout them out. And yeah, you should definitely follow that account. And by the way, I have a community, softwarecomposer.com. If you want to learn more about vibe coding, which is my biggest passion right now, we have like 14,000 users in this community, and we talk about your projects. You can ask questions when you're confused. It's free. And we're doing a big live stream. There's a live stream coming up. We're building mobile apps, live stream on March 26th. We're going to, from start to finish, we're going to build a mobile app. It's going to be sick. I'll see you guys there. Peace.